So the difference between guides and angels. So angels are angels, period. They've never been human. They're totally a different kind of entity than a human, right? So as humans, we come in, we experience this human realm. Angels are strictly created by God to be angels, and that's all they are. Now, that being said, I won't say that sometimes they don't pose as angels walking. Like, I know there's been times where you would have swore there was a human that you were talking to, but then they were never, like, you can't find them again. So there is a few scenarios like that where somebody will say, no, I know an angel was there. Years ago, actually, now that I'm even thinking about this, in the car accident with my daughter and I, there was somebody that helped us before anybody got there, and then they just vanished. And so it makes me wonder sometimes if angels don't show up that way, but they've never been human. So even if they come in to do, an act like that of helping or whatever, they've never been a human person. That being said, guides sometimes can be humans that have been, part of your family or something like that, who have crossed over into the light, who have done enough work that they now can help from that spiritual side. Okay. So sometimes our guides are people that have passed over. People that have passed over are not angels either, because they've been human and they're not just the angelic. Now, that being said, they do pass into the angelic realm. So that's when you hear somebody, when they pass over and they go into the light, they go into that energy, into that divine, loving, conscious energy. And that's where they're at. And that's why they don't ever lose their soul. And so that's why they can come and talk to us, right? But so that being said, there's so many different kind of different variations of everything out there, right? So one of the easiest ways that I like to explain it is if you imagine old-fashioned radio dial, okay? So go old school where you had to actually tune it in, and you actually have to turn the dial to get to the right frequency of where you want to tune in. I would say, like, if humans are, say 90 or 92.5, right? We'll go with some radio station channels here. Then that's 92.5. You would go in a little bit higher, so maybe 95 would be like where the fairy realm, the elemental realm, those kind of things are. And then as you tune in a little bit higher, then you would start getting into, like people that have crossed over, the angelic realm, and you would tune in a little higher on the radio frequency to be able to get to like the archangels, the ascended masters, things like that. Okay, so that being said, as you tune into those different stations, so to speak, the different vibration is what that is. So as you raise different vibrations, that's where you get into the different angelic frequencies and different things, different frequencies of light beings that can help us. Okay, so plain and simple, that there is a difference between guides and angels, because guides can be so many things. It can be angels. Your guides can be angels. So somebody on your divine team, so to speak, very well could be angelic. Jesus and the angels have always been part of my team. Like, whenever I talk about my spiritual team, Jesus and the angels just always have been there, right? So that being said, I also think that God also gives us all a guardian angel too, which again, even within the angels, there's different frequencies and different jobs. None are better or worse than the other. Like, it's not a scale like that. It's just the vibration, and it's based on their job, right? Because some of them are like the warrior angels that come in and they help us and they direct our way, and they give us some nudgings, like, you probably should go down this road, or, little things like that. Like, that's what they're for. And then you've got the angels that are like the archangels, who are really the big, heavy, like strong, energetic, high vibration light angels. Okay. And you guys, I don't have any formal training on it. This is just what I know from my own experience and my own, my own correspondence, my own learning of what I've been through, for myself. So I don't know if somebody out there, I don't know what's taught specifically. And even when I ask my own team about trying to learn about it, they're like, no, just do what you know, because everybody has different ideas. Okay. So the big thing is, when you're going through this spiritual journey for yourself, learn for yourself what feels right and what doesn't. Okay, so the basic question is, are angels and guides different? And the answer to that is yes, but that doesn't mean that angels can't also be part of your guidance team. I hope that resonates and that makes sense. So that being said, a lot of what I've been talking about lately is all of the different energies, and everything is really ramping up. And I've been saying for months that I feel like the spiritual realm is going to start getting stronger, and that they're going to start getting, not necessarily stronger, but they're going to show up on our physical plane way more. Okay, so this is a really good question. So that being said, they are showing up a lot more. Why can't I see the entire message? Hold on. I am trying to, I can't see the whole message. It says, okay, so all of them have different frequencies. This is everything. Okay, so entities, the same thing. Like there's different kind of entities, just like there's different kind of angels and everything kind of in between. So the one thing is that I know I had another question this morning is anything in the light will never make you have fear. Okay, so if you feel like there's fear or it doesn't feel good, then I would say stay away from that. You know what I mean? And you can literally just ask for Jesus and the angels to come in. Nothing in the lower lower vibrations can be around if you asked for Jesus to come in. So there's that. I'm going to try to click on this one more time. I still can't see the entire comment. Okay, so there's a question that says, can you perceive the energetic difference when channeling different entities? Yes, you can. Now, I know the only way that I do it is literally it's almost like that frequency and that dial, right? So it's once you get practiced enough at it, then it just becomes second nature, right? So it's kind of like feeling in your body and knowing, like, to me, people that have passed over always have a different feeling than an angelic being or any other kind of celestial being that comes through. It's just a different vibration. And again, it's just like tuning into the dial. And, our bodies are kind of, made to understand and feel energy and frequency. It's just as simple as, okay, so say you go to, somewhere where there's a lot of people. Instinctively in your body, you feel who's happy and who isn't, right? So like somehow oh yeah, they're really happy. You can feel the vibration of the emotions of it. And it's almost the same. I know that it's not really the same kind of idea, but the idea of how the frequency feels is the same thing with different entities. So that's the only part of the question I saw. It says I'm still working on it and I can't see the rest. So if you would repost that if you want me to clarify, or does that clarify that question? Because yes, you can feel the difference. Now everybody's different, so you're going to feel it differently. So I would just say that part of it, since you already do the mediumship work, you're just going to have to practice how it feels. And you're going to know. And you guys, we're talking even spirit animals come in and you feel the difference in the spirit animals because they have a different frequency. So everything that's out there as far as the spiritual world holds a specific kind of frequency, and you'll know based on how it feels. But again, it's just that practice, and it's using discernment, like I've talked about before. Always use discernment. So yeah, you have to set the intention to connect with the archangels and trust that you're connected. That's true, but also use your discernment in that. And if you've ever experienced an angel, you're going to know that feeling because it feels so good. And it's almost in the very beginning, like when I really, really started to understand what it felt like, it feels so much like overwhelming love. It's crazy, right? So you're going to know when you're connecting with them, and the more you connect with them, the more you're going to know. So yeah, it's setting that intention, being very specific, using all of your discernment, that when you connect with that you trust that that's what you're connecting to. Okay. I'm seeing yes and shared, and so that's good. So you're feeling like it's a challenge. That's okay, because it's learning, right? It's one of those things like when you first start learning how to ride a bike, and especially like I kind of know, Michael specifically, you're the one asking this question. It's just because working with people to you is so easy, right? And so you're like, oh yeah, that's just somebody that's passed over, no big deal. And it will be like that the more you allow yourself and trust yourself that the angels actually want to work with you. Because a lot of what happens sometimes is we get in our own way. I remember in the beginning thinking, why would the angels want to work with me? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have anything to offer, right? But again, once you get into doing the work and once you understand and practice, with my clients specifically, especially in my membership group, yeah, self-doubt totally gets in the way. So in my membership, we kind of actually work with that. And then that way it's in a safe space where they know that I'm like monitoring, so to speak, what comes in. And so that way you get to practice in a safe space. So it's really important, like if there's, a group, like a spiritual networking group where you know that you can find a safe space to know what's coming in, and as far as energetically, and learning how that feels. Like it's all about practice. So that's good. Self-doubt absolutely gets in the way. Um, Somebody saw a gold angel with their own eyes a few years ago. We totally did. My kids will tell you about an angel that we saw at Lake McConaughey during a really, really bad storm. They were pretty young, and they were like, "Yeah, they looked out the camper and they were like, there was an angel over there. That's why we're safe." So, I mean, angels do come in to show us that they're there, and I feel like that's really, you know, the physical presence that they have now on the earth is more than I've ever seen it before. Like I've always felt and seen, the angels, the entities, all of it, all spectrums of color, light, dark, whatever. But for whatever reason, and again, I've been saying this for months, like I feel like they're going to start making a more physical presence on this plane. Okay. So somebody says they felt myself out of their body. So that can happen. You don't necessarily, once you work with the energies, you don't necessarily have to leave your body, because we will do that. We'll leave our body to astral project or astral travel, or how, there's different ways that that's talked about, and you can do that. But once you get used to working with the energy, it's actually better to do it from a place where you're grounded, where you're still in your body and you're still here, but you're tuning into that energy so that you can get the messages, if that makes sense. So yeah, and I totally, that out of body experiences sometimes are pretty crazy, but yeah, they're really good. So that is kind of the quick and dirty, like, yes, there's a difference between guides and angels. I hope that I answered the question. You guys, there's so many different things that we could talk about. There's guides who are family and people that have passed over. There are angelic guides. So there are guides that are angels. There are archangels who can also still be your guides. There are ascended masters, which means these are people who have been on the planet, that have been here and have been human, but they have done their own awakening and their own enlightenment to the place that they can be an ascended master now, which means that they've been through the human stuff. They understood what it took to become enlightened and hold their vibration high at the level of the angels, and they become ascended into that vibration. And so that would be like Jesus and Buddha and some of the more, and some people even think Princess Diana, which she was like the epitome of love. So of course that would make sense, right? So there's ascended masters that are like that. Yes, a loved one could be a guide, because if they've already done what they need to do here and they've passed over, but then they can help you from the other side. They're in the light. They're working with the angelic realm, but they're not fully ascended to that vibration yet. They can be a guide to help you on your spirit team for the rest of your life here. So absolutely, a loved one can be a guide for sure. I think